एवरीबॉडी वेलकम बैक टू अ चैनल। मैं हूं नेहा। कैसे आप सब? तो आज हम देखने जा रहे हैं डेथ नोट एपिसोड 4 of the season 1. We are going to watch it today, and before this we have been seen that the eyes thing, man, matlab, no, what is after this it is going to be? Will he take that eyes and keep it with him, or will he refuse? Now that scene we are going to watch it now. So how this video is going to be, chaliye dekhte.
What? I don't believe this. Another 23 victims yesterday? Are these confirmed?
As soon as we began to suspect that Kiara might be a student, the pacing of the killings changed, as if to contradict that theory. This can only mean that Kiara has access to police information. If he discovers that I'm somehow getting confidential information, he'll be obligated to start investigating the police to find the source of the leak.
You're being followed by another human. He's watching you right now.
That's a problem. I'll have to get rid of him as soon as possible.
Because through a Shinigami's eyes, a human's name can be seen above your head. Not only that, you see their lifespan as well. However, if a Shinigami drops his death note and a human picks it up, he can grant that human the eyes of a Shinigami. The price for having a Shinigami's eyes is half of that person's remaining lifespan. That's all it is. So, what'll it be like? Is it a deal?
Pursuit.
Has anyone seen Ryuk around lately? Maybe he was serious about losing his death note.
It was probably picked up by some human before he could get to it.
No way! Then he'd be stuck there till the end of that human's life or until the death note was destroyed. That could take a while.
Yeah, I can't picture Ryuk doing something so boring. But you know what? I actually heard he was carrying 2 death notes.
Seriously, why would they need 2?
Beats me. I'll never understand the guy.
Oh.
So, the price for receiving the eyes of a Shinigami is no more than half of my remaining lifespan? That's it, right?
Yes. Well then, do we have a deal or not?
Ryuk. This deal is out of the question.
Huh?
Let's get this straight. My plan is to create an ideal new world free from evil and all criminals, and I intend to reign as a god in that world for a very long time. I might consider the deal if it lengthened my life, but not if I die sooner. I figured you, of all people, should know I wouldn't take this deal.
Yeah. I still felt I should tell you that the deal existed just in case. Anyway, I've done my part. I don't need you complaining I didn't tell you this earlier on.
This is what you call telling me early on? Don't you think you're a little late? I don't see why you couldn't have told me this when we met. Or better yet, you could have simply included it in the instructions for the death note.
Good point. He's not the slightest bit daunted by the fact that I'm a Shinigami. He doesn't suck up to me, and he seems to have no problem giving me a hard time.
Well, you sure there's nothing else you want to tell me ahead of time? Shinigami?
No, nothing else. Probably.
Really? That's too bad.
What do you mean?
You know, Ryuk, I might have seriously considered the deal if you'd offered me wings instead of eyes. Just the idea of flying around freely in the sky sounds very godlike.
Ah.
After all, it's been mankind's dream since antiquity to be able to fly.
You'd stand out if you sprouted wings and flew around. Not to mention the police would have no trouble finding you.
I was only joking. Anyway, if I keep bargaining for eyes and wings and whatever else, next thing you know, I'm going to end up becoming a real Shinigami. Who knows? I bet that could be pretty interesting.
I wouldn't worry. Even without the eyes and the wings, you're already a worthy Shinigami.
Aha.
The Shinigami realm is slowly rotting. We lead meaningless and empty lives. And the only reason we still take human lives is because we're afraid to die ourselves. The truth of the matter is that we no longer even know why we exist. In fact, I doubt there's any reason for our existence at all. What I'm saying is, compared to that, you're becoming a much more impressive Shinigami.
I don't know about that. I mean, from what you're telling me, it sounds like I'm doing a lot more work than they are. don't want to be compared to a Shinigami. I'm a human using this Death Note to make the world a better place for other humans.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily say that the Shinigami realm is meaningless to humans either.
Why do you say that?
Well, just think about it. Whenever a Shinigami like you comes to the human world once every 100, no, more like every 1,000 years, the human world changes dramatically. The existence of the Shinigami realm is extremely significant.
Really?
You told me just now that the Shinigami realm is slowly rotting, right? Well, when you return from this world, why not use what you've learned here to try and change it for the better?
Well, Light, I'm not sure why I never noticed this until now, but you're quite the positive thinker.
Yeah, of course I am. That's why I'm using the Death Note to create a better world. I have to be a positive thinker to even attempt something like this. That's it. I got it.
Got what? What's this about?
I think I just figured out how to find the name of the guy who was following me today.
How are
How?
you gonna do that?
I'm going to use the rules of the Death Note to my advantage. I already know that if I write down a cause of death, I've got 6 minutes and 40 seconds to record the conditions and exact time of death. First, I need to know exactly how far I can go in terms of specifying the details of death. This should be interesting.
Yeah, it's me. Another 6 inmates were found dead last night. All were heart attacks. It's him. What? Bizarre behavior before they died? Could you be more specific? What do you mean? So they didn't just die from heart attacks? No, what I'm saying is they all died of heart attacks, but it wasn't quite that simple. Before one of them died, he drew a pentagram on the wall of his cell using his own blood. Another left a letter, but it doesn't seem to be a will or anything meaningful. And as for the third victim, he escaped from his cell and ran all the way to the staff bathrooms before he died.
Whoa.
What is it, Watari?
3 more heart attack victims, but the circumstances of their deaths are different from what we've seen thus far.
What do you mean by different?
I'm sending you a copy of a letter as well as pictures taken at the scene.
Okay. It sounds like he was afraid that Kira would find him. It's believable that our victim might have been genuinely afraid and wrote this, but we know Kira can control the time of death. What if he can also determine the actions and events leading up to death? In which case...
Chief, we can't release details of these men's deaths to the media. As far as they're concerned, these are just heart attacks.
Oh.
I have reason to believe that Kira was performing some kind of test using these criminals. And if that's the case, we'd only be giving him the results if this information is leaked to the public.
Right, I understand.
So now he's experimenting on his victims?
He's playing with people's lives as if all this was just a game. It's unforgivable.
If Kira is really using criminals as test subjects, what is he trying to achieve? Look at this, Ryuk. I think we're in luck. The results of yesterday's little test have already been downloaded onto my dad's computer, and these results are just as I expected. The Death Note will work for what I have in mind.
What do you mean by that?
One of them escaped and ran into the bathroom I had specified in the Death Note. Another one drew the same symbol I had drawn in the Death Note before he died. And finally, a third wrote the same letter I had written in the Death Note, word for word. All 3 did exactly what I intended them to do. For the other 3 inmates, I purposely wrote conditions that were virtually impossible. With the first one, I wrote that he would die in front of the Eiffel Tower in 1 hour. However, everyone knows that it's physically impossible to go from a prison in Japan to Paris, France in only 1 hour. Since this couldn't happen, he simply died of a heart attack in prison. The next was supposed to draw an exact picture of Elle's face on the prison wall. This also didn't happen. You can't draw someone you've never seen, right?
Makes sense.
With the last one, I tried something slightly different. I specified that he would write a note that read, "I know that Elle is suspicious of the Japanese police." To be honest, I actually expected this one to work, but it didn't end up happening. Which means, it's impossible to make someone write what they don't already know.
Or, at the very least, it has to be the kind of thing that they could come up with on their own. Basically, even the Death Note can't do the impossible. But, as long as it's within the realistic limits of what that person might do, I can control them as much as I want before they die.
That's very clever. But what's all this leading to? What's the point?
These latest victims will no doubt keep L and the police guessing. Even as we speak, he's probably trying to decipher all the clues I left for him. Especially that little note.
Okay.
Absolutely meaningless dying message.
If Kira used those criminals to conduct an experiment of some sort, it means he's about to start something. If he moves now, there's a good chance the FBI will notice someone acting suspiciously. But perhaps he has a different goal in mind altogether. Could the pentagram and this letter be some kind of a message? Is this it?
Alright, time for the real thing.
Real thing.
Yesterday on the news, they said this drug addict tried to rob a bank but was unsuccessful. He attacked a few people and then ran away empty-handed. I'll use him. It's kinda last minute, but I'm sure I can find someone. I got a few people in mind.
A few people. For what?
You'll see. Believe it or not, I'm actually a rather popular guy. Please.
Hello? Right? Morning.
Okay. The way he is using his brains without like having help of Shimigami, that is Yuka. I thought he will accept the deal and all the things, but he didn't accept the deal and he went further and used his brain. Wow, I'm just like so what you can say, so amazed and surprised to watch this one. The way every episode has been going on, it is making me think harder what kind of a climax or what kind of a things are going to happen in the coming episode. Because I'm like not able to predict even the single scene from this movie, man. What is going to happen? I thought like before this scene that what we can say, he is going to accept the deal of the Shimigami, but over here he didn't accept and used his own brain. Wow. Unbelievable, what we can say, unexpected things are coming on the way and I'm loving that so much. So yeah, that is it for today. अगर वीडियो आपको पसंद आएगा तो लाइक कर देना, नीचे कमेंट करके बताना कि कैसा लगा और आपको ऐसा और वीडियो चाहिए वो भी कमेंट करके बता दो। इस वीडियो को शेयर कर दो, नीचे दिए गए रेड सब्सक्राइब बटन को वो भी क्लिक कर देना और मेरा इंस्टा आईडी नीचे डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिया गया है, सो प्लीज फॉलो दैट। थैंक यू।